Would you believe that corporations have had more legal rights in America than some groups of people? Let's talk about it.
Yeah,
of course.
It doesn't surprise me a bit. And like I said, when we started this episode, I said it's a slippery slope, and it is, and it's not like you can name. There's a lot of cases that got it started. I mean, it really started with. I think free speech is how it kind of really got started. Does corporation have free speech and on and on, and then it's built off of that. And just like a lot of our laws, they go back to to England, right, and how that kind of worked, and things have changed, and our laws changed since then. But when you go to law school, people always think you come out of law school and know what the laws are. You don't know crap. You don't know anything. You just know how the law has gotten to where we are and where it started. And so some of this corporation stuff
7 different reasons why the law was a particular way and why it changed.
Right.
But what is it now?
No clue.
I don't know.
No clue. No clue. But that's, I mean, so you're talking about a long process, and you're talking about, late 1800s to start it. And I think the last one was 2010 was the last real change in what that is. And all those laws from 80 something, 87, maybe the first 86. One. 86. I was close. See, this is pure law school memory.
I know it's on your paper and you're not.
I haven't read it.
Even cheating.
I will admit it. Yeah. And so that went on, and throughout the decade, or the years, it was like you got another little piece, and they kept chipping away, and then in 2010 you had another big one for the corporations, and so all those things. It's not just one case; it's 20 cases, and then a million cases to reaffirm all those cases. So to get a corporation not to be looked at as a person in all different categories that have happened is almost impossible now to get these laws off the books. And credit to the lobbyists for the big banks and the big corporations. They've done a great job because they've tricked the American people to think this is good for them. So here we are.
So before we get too far into our discussion about corporate parenthood or personhood, can define that. Like, what is corporate personhood?
So, I mean, it's essentially like they can act as the same rights that you have. I mean,
I can own property.
Yeah, the corporation can own property. It can pass it down. They can make. I think the 2010 was the one with charitable contributions to politicians. Essentially, anything you can do as a human.
And some of the main things involving the legal work or legal field is. A corporation can sue on its own behalf.
And be sued.
And be sued. Yeah. Absolutely.
I mean, honestly, it's hard to think, list everything because it's it's really a person. Like, it's just, what can you do? I mean, it's the same thing. It's almost that point.
You have to think about it.
There's some things I can't do that mountains can do, and vice versa.
Like Reed said, it's happened over time.
Yeah.
Could you imagine if you were, injured by a corporation some way, and the law said, well, the corporation you can't sue because it's not a person. That person wouldn't have legal standing for you to sue them. And you would have to, give me a list of all the shareholders of this corporation. I'm going to name every single one of them. No. That's not, an efficient way to administer, type justice to people. So, and then with the, Citizens United and the political contributions, that was an argument.
That was the latest case, right? From 2010.
An argument over whether or not corporations could donate, to political activities, political campaigns, and whether or not there could be restrictions on that. And, the Supreme Court came down and said, no, this is you using your money, whether you're a person or a corporation, that's your form of free speech, of supporting your candidates.
But the same thing, Sean, like that, and I think that's what people need to understand. It builds off of each other. So the Supreme Court's looking at that specific issue, and they're relying on the free speech that happened in 1800 and 1880 or 86. So all those things build off of each other. That's what I mean. If you have this thing that we're going to take down corporations having rights as a citizen, the amount of things you have to undo is almost impossible. I don't know how you could do it. And there's some things I agree with, and then there's some things that I vehemently disagree with on a corporation being a person. But this is where we are. So it's like Sean said. I mean, there's some good things that you listed, and there's some bad things that you listed. It's not all good and all bad. But the Supreme Court. This needs to be made importantly clear is that the Supreme Court is not saying what is best for America. They are saying this is what the law is.
Sure.
They have to follow the law.
Yeah.
It's not their job to create the law. It's their job to kind of decipher and infer
Interpret
what the
it.
law that the courts, the Senate and the House and all that stuff have come and brought a law. They don't make them.
And a little thing called the United States Constitution.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, of course, Sean. Yeah. But you know what I mean? Like, it's not. They're not sitting in their chambers writing laws up. Like
Not all of them.
Yeah, that's true.
Some of them are trying to.
That's true. I'm sorry. Yeah. Let's not go down there.
Whether for one side or the
let's
other,
not go
I mean,
down there.
there's
Yeah.
some of them that are trying to.
But in theory, that's not their job.
Correct. The judicial branch, their job is to interpret the law and apply the law to facts.
And then when they interpret it, that becomes law. But that's not them writing the law.
Correct.
Like, that's what we talk about. We've talked about it a good bit. Is case law. Like that's Supreme Court is case law, but they're not writing the code. They're just interpreting how that works. And then so that's why I give them a little grace on some of these things is because you have to rely on your previous justices' decisions.
Yeah.
So they didn't make the decision in 1800 or whatever, or 1910 or 1927 or whatever it is, but that's the law, and they have to follow the law.